Thank you, Vicky, for joining me today and sharing your own experience with us and my students. To start, could you briefly introduce yourself to the students?
First of all, I'd like to thank you as well for having me as your guest. It's an honor. I'm very happy to speak with you and your students. Yes, my name is Vicky Loras. As you said, I teach English correspondence and presentation skills at a Fachhausweis. It's an online business college in Lucerne, Switzerland. So my students are primarily executive assistants to CEOs in companies. So one of their primary things to do is write emails and be very careful how they do it because they communicate with a lot of people, not only the people inside their company, but important people outside their company too. So I find an analogy there a little bit about what the students are trying to do. They're trying to write to people in their field to accept them as students to for further studies or to ask for scholarships or things like that. Um, as you said, I'm researching Canadian English because I was born in Canada and I grew up there. And because in Canada we are all immigrants, if we are not First Nations, Inuit or Métis. So my parents are originally Greek. So
Mhm.
I'm bicultural. I'm Greek Canadian. Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, this is really nice. So maybe let's start with talking about writing CV. Okay,
Mhm.
so what is the main important sections of a good CV?
Well, a CV has to be really carefully written. You really need to take the time to do it properly so that the person who will read it will also give it the necessary importance.
Mhm.
I think the most important parts are the introduction. If you write a small, really tiny introduction, if you write your personal data clearly, what your name is or your names, if you have more than one, your date of birth. Now, depending on the country, you can add a photo too. For example, in Canada, it's not customary to add a photo. In Switzerland, you do. So make sure when you're writing the CV, or if you're not sure, you can ask the administration of the country you're writing to or the institution you're writing to, or you can ask other people who have studied there whether you should add one or not. If you're not sure and you want to do it, go for it. No problem. I think there won't be a problem. So that's also an important thing to pay attention to your studies and any work experience you have. Here, a lot of my students tell me that they feel a little bit embarrassed to write everything they've done because they say, I don't want to sound like I'm full of myself. And one of my mentors from the past, unfortunately, he passed away. He always told me, you should be proud of what you've done, what you've studied, where you've worked, and write everything on the CV.
Mhm.
Um, mhm. And now many universities and also workplaces, they're very interested what you do in your free time. So it's a good idea to add at the very end what your hobbies and your pastimes are, what you like to do, because they like to see how you keep your work life study balance.
Mhm.
So especially in Canada and the United States, I'm not sure if anywhere else that's my experience. They like to see this. Switzerland too. I think in Switzerland and many European countries, they like to see this.
Yes, exactly. I know that in Germany as well, especially, they
Hmm.
want to see that you have a good work-life balance and that you have
Hmm.
other interests other than only studying. And if you do
Hmm.
any volunteering, for example, during your studies, of course, it will be a really good idea to write it down in your CV. And I
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, and I think really it's a good idea about the writing, adding your photo or also your personal
Hmm.
information on your CV. It highly depends on the country. As you
Yeah.
mentioned, it's not common in North America in general, Canada or America to add your photo. But for
Hmm.
example, in Switzerland, in Germany, it's actually a good idea to add your photo. So it's highly
Yeah.
dependent on the country, and it's a good idea to check with maybe people from the same country, the same university or so, to ask them
Hmm.
what is the recommendation for adding this
Hmm.
information or not. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Vicky. This is actually a good idea. So maybe we can go to the next question, which like About the length of
Hmm.
CV. I mean, I think everyone is asking this question. How long
Yeah,
should be my CV? Should it be only one page or two pages, or should I add
yeah.
all the information, all the activities that I did to each
Hmm.
CV that I sent? So, what is your recommendation in this regards?
Well, sometimes it can be a challenging issue. I catch myself also wondering at times. Some institutions clarify that from the beginning. They say the CV needs to be maximum 1 or 2 pages, which is great because, I have to condense everything into this small space. But sometimes they don't mention it at all. So what you can do is you can ask them if you like. Again, the administration, they're always very happy to help, or you can just send your CV as it is. It happened to me, if you'd like me to share a personal experience a few years ago when I first moved to Switzerland. I was applying for a teaching job, and I asked them, how long would you like my CV to be? And they said, oh, we don't really mind.
Mhm.
And I sent them the long version, let's say. And in my first interview with my then future boss, he told me, I read your CV, all of it. And I said, oh, okay, how long should it have been? And they said, well, in Switzerland, it's about 1 or 2 pages, but we told you actually as long as you would like it to be. So I felt a little bit embarrassed, but on the other hand, I thought, okay, if they asked me to send as much as I wanted, I sent the whole thing in.
Why not?
And sometimes, yeah, and sometimes they reply back if you send the long version and they say, oh, could you please condense it into 1 or 2 pages? So it's a good idea when you're building your CV. I do this too. Have a short version on hand and have a longer one too. So whatever they tell you, you don't have to prepare it. You just send it in. You just have to update it. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a really good
Hmm.
idea. And it's a good idea actually
Hmm.
to ask, as you mentioned, ask before. So you
Yeah.
should know.
Hmm.
Why not to ask how long the CV should be?
Yeah.
Yeah, any application or documents. People will be
Hmm.
really happy to help actually. If
Yeah.
you write the right email, which we will talk about later, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so most of my students are fresh graduates, so it's just graduate, I guess, last month.
Oh,
So for them,
congratulations.
yeah, congratulations to them. So actually, it's really frustrating for them what to add in their CV because they still like have no experience, almost no experience, and
Yeah.
they found it really difficult to write even for this 1 or 2 pages CV.
Mhm.
So they only say, oh, I have for education 1 or 2 lines, and
Mhm.
that's it. So what else should I add in my CV if I'm a fresh
Mhm.
graduate?
Yeah. If there's no working experience yet or very little, just add that or not at all. Any languages that you speak are very important. Any workshops that you've attended and seminars, it looks good to show that you like to learn. If there are too many, maybe you can do it under a general topic, that workshops title. I have attended many workshops on phonetics and phonology, for example, all over Europe, online and in person. It always looks good. For the condensed version, for the longer one, you can actually list all the workshops you've been to. I
Mhm.
mean, they might not read all of them, but they look at it and they say, "Wow, oh, you really like to learn. You attended all of these. This is great." So languages, workshops, seminars, any presentations you've made, even if it's in class, what the topic was, if you were presenting with other people, anything like that, and you'll see that you'll have a nice meaty CV already, even the short one,
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
hobbies at the end.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hobbies, and if they are volunteering in anything as well, they could add.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
from their, like I always give them the advice to write about the projects that they did during their studies. So because usually some of our subjects have like a project at the end. So why not to write
Yeah.
about your project and what your role within this project? And yeah, so it actually give a good picture about you, about how you are a good team player or how you manage your team and all of this. So I think you have a lot of things to write down in your CV if you are still a fresh graduate students as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then another question, actually. Should CV be customized for each job application? So if I'm applying for a multiple jobs now, so should I send
Yeah.
the same generic CV, which include of my information at once, or should I customize it for each application?
I would say the latter. Customize is always better.
Mhm.
It shows that you took the time to write to them why you want to be there, why you want to work there, why you want to study there. Um, they might ask you with the CV to write a cover letter. That definitely has to be customized, but also the CV because every institution, every workplace is different. So maybe you want to share a piece of experience that you have that is relevant to that institution, and in another institution, it's not. So somebody might see it and say, okay, why did you even write that? We don't do that. So it's always good to go through it. I know it's a lot of work, but in the end, it really pays off. And it really creates a very good impression with your future employer, your future supervisor.
Yeah.
They're really happy that you took the time to actually do it carefully. It's so important. It's really, really important. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it actually show how interested you
Hmm.
are in the job.
Yeah.
And for example, if for people who are applying for a PhD, for example, or for a scholarship,
Hmm.
is the most important piece of information is your previous education. So maybe you will
Hmm.
add this at the beginning of your CV, like your
Hmm.
master's, your bachelor degree. But then if you're
Hmm.
applying for something like outside of academia, like a company or like industry,
Hmm.
something, maybe you will add
Hmm.
your work experience first and then your
Hmm.
education. So it's really important to maximize, to customize your CV to each application because it shows that you are really interested in this job and you made your research on the company or something.
Hmm.
And I guess maybe one advice I could add as well is read carefully the job advertisement and try to
Yeah.
use the same language. They always say mirror the language from the
Hmm.
job description. Say, like, take
Hmm.
the main important point that they are searching for in their candidate
Hmm.
and put it in your CV and your cover letter to show how your experience or experience are actually relevant
Hmm.
to the job. So I always do that. So try not to have like one generic CV and send it to everyone.
Yeah.
It's not always a good idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Hmm.
work, but like, as you mentioned, it will pay off at the end.
Hmm.
Okay, so I want to ask about from your own experience, what is the most common mistakes that you see in CV and writing CVs?
Not categorizing things. So that's a very big mistake. And it doesn't look good on a CV. So try to make the sections clear with headers, bold them if you need to, work, education. So show signpost what's in each category. That's very important. Mm, Another mistake is just using any kind of photo. If you use one, you need a really professional one. If you can't afford to go to a photographer, you don't have time to do it, make a friend of yours. Take your photo against a clear blank space or with a library behind you, maybe like this, something that looks really professional. I remember my sister needed a photo once and we didn't have time at all. So I put her against the wall. It was a beautiful olive green color. And it's the photo she uses everywhere. She loves it now. So I actually took it and it looks good. It has to be you in a very professional manner, not on the beach with a drink.
Yeah.
It's not social media. It's your work life. It's your study life. It needs to be really carefully done.
Hmm.
And like I said, there are so many easy solutions. You don't have to go and pay somebody to do it. The photo, the sections, the font. It needs to be a clear font,
Hmm.
something very readable, professional, not something that looks like informal, like a comic or something you would use in another context. It needs to be um, the same font. It happened to me in the past when my sisters and I we had a language school and we were hiring teachers that we got CVs that were one section in a different font, another one a different one, bigger, smaller. So you think, oh, you didn't even take the time to fix that. How can you be a good teacher? Formal language, very short. um, sentences. It doesn't have to be super analytical.
Mhm.
Um, if you're not sure of the spelling of something, please go and look it up. If it's in a language that if you're writing the CV in a language that's not your first one, ask people. It's not a shame to ask. It's better to ask rather than risk making a mistake, a spelling mistake. Be careful with spacing, with commas, and all that. So punctuation plays a big role. Believe it or not, people look at all of this.
Yes, sure. I know. Already, I reviewed a lot of CV
Yeah.
myself, and yeah, actually, I saw some of these mistakes. I mean, I remember I saw some people like send the picture. Actually, it's a selfie, and I was like, "This
Ah,
is
yeah.
not professional to add. Like, selfie is not a good thing for to add in your
Yeah.
CV." And I guess the font is also another thing. It's really important to have really the same font in
Hmm.
all your CV. You can't really change it because sometimes if really people don't see that something it changes the spacing or anything,
Hmm.
they say, "Oh, like no one can notice," but no, actually we can see that. We can see it's a
Yeah.
difference. And yeah, and it's also, of course, to check the spelling mistakes if there's any mistakes. And I think nowadays we can use also AI tools or like
Yeah.
ChatGPT or something to check if like we're a little bit embarrassed or so to
Yeah.
send someone. Maybe send it
Hmm.
to ChatGPT and ask if it's a good TV or like if they have any comments or so. Sometimes
Yeah.
ChatGPT could give you some really really good advice.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
That's
I
a
guess
good point.
these are really good advice, I guess, common mistakes that people do. And this makes me go to the next question, actually. And the final question about talking about writing CV is about the design, right? I think
Yeah.
we talked about the photo and font.
Hmm.
But the design is actually really also confusing because some people think, okay, should I go to more creative design and with a lot of
Hmm.
colors and maybe ask AI tools to write really artistic CV, you know, like you have this, like it's a
Hmm.
picture like or like infograph, no, other than CV. Or
Hmm.
should I go to more traditional one, which is a black and white, like maybe white background and black font? So should I go more traditional or creative in designing my CV?
Mm, it really depends. I would immediately say go to the traditional route, but the truth is, I've seen CVs of my students who did it a creative way on AI, and they were super clear. They were easy to follow. If it's too much flashy stuff, and I need to look around and think, oh, that's your work experience, all that, then check it as if you were hiring yourself, if you were taking yourself on. I would tell your students and mine too. If it's creative, is it easy to read? Is it easy to follow through? Otherwise, just go the traditional route, which is safe and you don't really need to be so stressed about it and just go that route. Whatever you feel comfortable with, as long as when you're going through it, it's easy to follow. I would say. Mhm.
Yeah, I totally agree. I guess if you want to play it safe, you go to traditional
Yeah.
design, and there's a lot of templates already online. You can use any of them, so you don't have to care. You don't need to care about the
Mhm.
size and font and all of these because it's already there. And I think when you go more to traditional design, it could be more helpful for HRs to read your CV because
Mhm.
nowadays they start using AI tools as well to screen all of the CVs that they get, and then they select some.
Yeah.
So if your CV in the traditional way, it becomes easier for the tools to get your information right, and then
Mhm.
can actually increase your chances of getting selected for an interview or so. But
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
it also depends on your topics and field. I mean, if you are in more of a
Mhm.
creative field, maybe you're an artist or so, and you want to apply for something. Of course, then you need to be more creative and have more
Yeah.
colors in your CV. But then, as Vicky, as you said, you need to have to make it really really clear where the information
Yeah.
is because I already have seen a lot of CVs where You go to the education is here, and then I want to go to work experience is a really different format, and I like
Mm-hmm.
searching. And trust me, people don't have time to search for your
Yeah.
CV, unfortunately. I saw it as well that some CVs get this like, of course, already rejected just because it's too complicated.
Yeah.
So I think play it safe, try to be clear, whatever
Mm-hmm.
choice you have, creative or not, or traditional, be clear. I guess this is the most important, I guess, tips. So do you have anything else to add about CV writings, or maybe something we didn't
Mm-hmm.
mention already?
Yeah, I would say take all of our advice into consideration, both of Mia's and mine, and you're going to do a great job and take the time to do it properly. It's so important. Your whole, I wouldn't say your life depends on it, but your career, your dreams, all your plans. So then you're not wondering, what did I do wrong? You did your best, and